Hey everybody, mel0n here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a quick little unboxing and quick first impressions on the KeyChron M3 Mini. Now, for those of you who will watch my review of the M3, you know that mouse was a really good overall mouse, but it definitely struggled in terms of gaming performances due to the weight. And in that review, I was said, oh hey, KeyChron announced this mouse called the M4, which is just a lighter version to the M3. That is probably going to be the better version going forward. However, the M4 never made it to market, and it just kind of disappeared. No one really knows what happened to it. The website just disappeared for some reason off their store. But then a week ago, this popped up in their store, and I have an inkling that this is actually what the M4 was supposed to be because it has pretty much the identical specs of the M4. It is just using an M3 Mini naming convention, which is a little strange, but regardless, that's okay. So with that said, I do have very high hopes for this mouse because again, the M3 was a really solid mouse, just the weight kind of killed the gaming aspect of it and made it more of an office mouse. And to be fair, I do love it for office use. It has been my go-to office mouse for ever since I got it. However, this one with the weight reduction may be better, but we'll have to see what happens. Alrighty, so the unboxing experience is going to be pretty much identical to the M3 as it's using the exact same box. So of course, included we have the mouse itself. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then on top of that, we also have the adapters here. So that's a USB A to C and a USB C to A female. So just the reverse adapters, which is nice to see there. It also does come with the same USB C adapters and USB A adapters as the M3 did. Now, one thing I will say here, the cable is just kind of stuffed in here, and which was fine until I noticed there was some really bad kinking in this cable. I'm going to bring it up to the camera. Hopefully you guys can see it, but I'm sure you can see it here. There is some pretty bad kinking in this cable here. I'm not the biggest fan of how it was packaged. I would have liked to see them maybe expand this a little bit. I'm sure they're just reusing a lot of the foaming from the M3, but the possibility of these cables being damaged, especially with how bad that kinking is there, is pretty high. So that is one thing I'd be a little concerned about. It does look like it is the exact same cable that was found on the M3, but that's something to note regardless. It seems a lot of mice as of late are having issues with cable kinking, but that's okay. It is what it is. Let's talk about the mouse next. Alrighty, now first off, let's just talk about this mini naming convention we have here, because that got me a little confused. So this is the M3 Mini here, and this is the M3. Yes, there is a bit of a difference in size, but they are almost identical. I'll give you guys a heads up view from right here, but these are very similar mice. Generally speaking, if you say mini, I would expect a significantly smaller shape, if not maybe 3/4 of this, but this is yeah, it's smaller, but not by a lot. Next to each other, they don't really look that different. So definitely it is smaller. They're not wrong, but the mini convention on the naming is a little weird. It's similar to how they keep calling these ergonomic mice when they're sim mice. Kind of the same thing. I don't know why they keep doing that, but it is what it is. That's fine. I'm just going to say it's just a naming convention. And again, given on how this was supposed to be the M4 based off all the information I'm seeing so far, I'm going to assume it was just kind of a last minute thing, but that's fine. Whatever. We'll call it the M3 Mini for now. We'll just leave it as is. So the biggest changes you'll notice here is that on the side here, the classic grips that were on the M3 that were kind of back here, these were one of the issues I had the most with, because the grip here doesn't really do a lot for bigger hands, because if bigger hands are going to hold it here, and a lot of people, while some people may have their hands here, it just kind of, this point is kind of useless. And one of the things I wanted them to do is to either A, remove these entirely, or B, move them forward. And thankfully they actually did that. So you can see here on the side of the M3 Mini that the gripping has actually going all the way forward now. So this is a lot more compatible with a lot more grips. So especially with my larger aggressive claw grip, I can actually comfortably hold this, and I feel a little bit of texture here. I'll definitely still be putting some kind of form of grips on this guy regardless, but that's okay. Not a lot has changed here. I am actually very happy to still see that this is staying at the same kind of bottom design, because I do really like this. Again, I don't use it that frequently, but it's nice to have if you're on the go. And again, this is intended to be kind of a work play mouse, so that leans very far into it. Now, in terms of buttons, you will notice the DPI button is gone. I'm actually a huge fan of this DPI button being gone. I really just don't think my gaming mice should just have DPI buttons on them anymore, because it's just pointless. And again, this one does have it on the bottom, which made it kind of weird because the M3 had one here and one here. It was kind of weird, but that's okay. But I am glad to see that gone here. That is quite nice. Now, in terms of the scroll wheel feels pretty similar. I would say this one feels, the M3 Mini feels a little sturdier, but that may just be because I've been using this one a little while. This one may loosen over time, but feels pretty similar. The middle click feels pretty much identical, maybe a little more actuation on this one, but that's completely fine. Again, I'm having a feeling that's just because I've been using the M3 for a couple months and this is a brand new unit, so I'm sure that will even out over time. Side clicks Side clicks definitely feel different. So the clicks on the M3 are a little sharper. These ones are a little more muddled, but at the same time, they do have a nice tactile hump to them. They're definitely, I would say, they're definitely more spammable because there's a lower actuation for them. I would actually say the clicks, the side buttons on here feel really similar to the, yes, they do. They feel very similar to the HyperX Haste. The Haste 2, very similar. I would say the Haste is still a little lighter in terms of actuation, but it is very similar. So that's nice to see there. The biggest changes is going to be the main clicks, of course. So these are the GM 8.0s, and okay, yeah, I like these. Okay, so the Wano dots feel significantly nicer. Don't get me wrong, the GM 8.0s are nice. Like, they're completely fine switches, but they are literally everything, which does make them kind of feel basic. The Wanos, though, have a really nice tactile click to them. Like, it's a softer click, but it has a really nice feel. It's weird. It's like it's a sturdy click, but it feels very soft. The skate design is also the exact same as found on the M3. So these are hybrid PTFE Teflon skates, so they're very hard. But the wear on them has actually been pretty good. Again, you can see on my M3, I've actually been using this mouse a fair amount. The skates haven't really worn too much. So that's nice to see it'll be the same on this one as well. Of course, I have little covering on them right now, but I'll take those off later. But I must say, overall first impressions, this feels really, really good. This definitely feels like, as I said when I did the M3 review, the M3 is a great mouse, but the weight from the RGB was what was really holding it back. That was like the biggest thing, because again, as you'll notice, oh sorry, I'm gonna switch it to this. And you'll notice here, this has RGB, and all this extra RGB is adding on a lot of weight, but this one does not have that, which is very nice to see. So I think overall, this is a really, really nice unit. This feels like what the M3 was supposed to be, and this was almost certainly the M4, but they just changed the naming convention at last minute. But yeah, overall, I must say this is a really nice mouse. It feels really good. I'm excited to get some gameplay on it. And again, I'll have a full review up in a week or two after I could do some more testing on this guy, but so far, so good. This is a very, very, very promising improvement over the M3, and I'm excited to see what KeyChron cooks up in the future. But yeah, anyways, if you guys have any questions about the product, feel free to leave a comment down below. And again, I'll have a full review up in a week or two, give or take how long it takes me to do some testing on this guy. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate it for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.